No gunshots, but they getting low, 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 getting low, 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 drinking, keep it.
What's up YouTube, I'm Negative Density and today I'm here with a flipping guide for y'all. So this video is going to kind of be targeted towards people who have never flipped before, so if you've never flipped before and you want to try, this guide's going to be aimed at you. So to get started, I'm going to go over some of the requirements that I've kind of come up with for flipping. I highly recommend you have at least 5 mil in your cash stack. Technically you could flip with like anything down to like 1000 GP or even like 100 GP, but you'll make like 10 GP per flip, so I highly recommend you have closer to 5 mil, 10 mil, 20 mil when you get started. If you don't have that kind of money, you can easily make that kind of money from like Slayer or farming runs if you need to, so it shouldn't be too big of a challenge to get that first 5 mil, and then once you do, you can go ahead and get started. The next requirement I have is you must absolutely have patience. When you're flipping, if you don't have patience and you sit here and watch your offers, you're gonna have a terrible, terrible, terrible time. If you get impatient and you see things aren't buying and selling, you're gonna end up changing your prices and adjusting your prices, and you end up making your margins a lot smaller and making your profits a lot less than what they could have been if you had just been patient. So my recommendation for that, even if you aren't patient, is after you set your offers, go ahead and just walk away from the Grand Exchange and go do some Slayer or farming run or just skill if you need to, but do not stand here and watch them. And then the final requirement I have is that you have membership. Now technically you don't need membership. You can flip free-to-play items if you want. Usually they're not great. The margins on those items are usually pretty terrible. They're usually flipped by a lot of people just because everybody can flip them, so I'm not saying you can't flip them. There's definitely, you know, a market there. You can find some items, I'm sure, that have great margins on them, but I'd say a vast majority of the free-to-play items are going to have absolutely terrible margins, so I highly recommend you have membership before you start trying to flip. Okay, so let's get into it. So if you're not aware of what flipping is simply buying an item off the Grand Exchange for a low price and then reselling it for a high price. The difference between that high price and low price is what's called the margin, and that's where you're going to make most, if not all, of your money. The greater that margin is, you know, the more money you'll make. It's obviously dependent on the buy limit, so if you have a huge buy limit and a small margin, you could end up making more money than an item with a small buy limit and a huge margin, so you kind of have to balance those two things out when you're picking an item, but overall you want to try to get the item that has the greatest margin. So the first question that usually comes up is, you know, what item should I flip? What items are good? What items make the most money? And quite honestly, I can't give you an exact item that's going to make you a lot of money. I can give you a range of items that might be better than others and a range of items that'll be worse than others, but overall there's usually not a super consistent item that'll get you consistent gains. Items that you should definitely steer clear of though are things like ores and bars and food generally. A lot of people will flip those, and for the most part they won't bring you a lot of money, so if you're looking for items, I'd try to stay away from those. Occasionally you might find a decent margin on those, but for the most part it won't be great. Items that you should maybe look at a little more often are things that are like skilling items, such as like unfinished potions and herbs. Those typically bring you some decent money, so if you're at a loss and you're trying to find an item, those are usually pretty safe bets. If you want to try to find a unique item, what a lot of people will do is, you know, they'll go into like their defense tab here, go into the armors, scroll down a little bit, and you kind of look for some stuff that you maybe haven't heard of or doesn't seem to be quite as well known. So if you look at like Vestas or Zuriels here, maybe Ganderberg's pretty common, so you could try it, but I wouldn't say it's great. But you want to kind of go through here. You can go through your weapons too, and all sorts of skilling stuff. And just kind of look for items that you don't think are super popular, and then you can try those items out and see what they get. So we're going to go ahead and try an unfinished potion. Let's just type in unfinished. Let's try a dwarf weed potion, shall we? I actually just flipped a couple of these a little bit ago. The margin was huge, so we're going to see what it's at now. 58.66. Okay, after you insta buy your first one, go ahead and write that number down. Oh, where am I going? Make sure you write that number down or memorize it. You can even check your sales history, it doesn't matter. But just so that... Alright, sorry about that. My record button and the hyphen button are mapped to the same key, so as soon as I hit that hyphen between the buy and sell prices in my chat box, it ended the recording. So I'm back and up here, so let's go ahead and get back to it. So now what you need to do after you write down that 58.66, you want to go ahead and insta sell it. 56.09, 56.09. Okay, so now what you're going to do is this 56.09 becomes the price you buy at, and the 58.66 is the price you sell at. So what you want to do is jump on the RuneScape wiki and check out what the buy limit is. I think I've got it memorized. I believe it's 10k. So if you go dwarf weed potion, and we buy 10,000 for 56.09, and now you want to back down your buy limit because you already bought one, so now you can only really buy 9,999. So then buy it for 56.09 and confirm offer. And now we wait. So at this point, you either want to walk away from the computer and go get lunch or dinner or go to bed or whatever you need to do. Go do Slayer, go skill, whatever you need to do, but don't stand here and just watch your offers. You'll get, if you're skilling or something, you'll get a little blue line of text in your chat box that says, "Oh, your offer for dwarf weed potions unfinished has completed." And then you can come running back, super excited to flip it and put it back in for your buy price. So it's really quite that easy. So now that you understand the basics behind flipping, I highly recommend you start doing a little research. Start looking for your own items that might be good. Bones might be alright. Different items, you can go on the RuneScape website and go on the Grand Exchange page and just look through those items and see what we can find. Generally, the items that are a lot lower volume and a lot of people don't necessarily know about right off the top of their heads are usually better. Like I said, items like ores and bars and like steel plate bodies aren't usually great. You can look at summoning items; those are usually pretty good. So just keep your mind open, keep your eye out, try different things. You lose a little money checking the margin on everything, but you'll make that back tenfold and 100-fold and 1,000-fold on your flips. So just kind of do your research and just look around. I'm sure you'll find whatever you need. One final remark I have here is that if you haven't heard of it or you don't use it, I highly recommend you start using the RuneScape companion app if you have a smartphone. I don't know if it works for iPhones. I've got an Android and it works great. So if you go to the RuneScape website and just type in like RuneScape companion app, you can find it, you can download it. I think it requires Google authentication, but that's pretty easy to set up. After you get all that set up, you can check all of your Grand Exchange offers right from your phone. So if you can't play all day, you can only play for like 30 minutes a day. It doesn't really matter. You can even set up buy and sell offers from your phone. So really, you don't even have to play the game to flip successfully. So if you get that RuneScape companion app, you can increase the profits you make tremendously. So if you don't have it, I highly recommend you look into it and give that a shot too.